hujan lah, tapi air sungai tu dia tengah pergi ke arah Pekan.
Ya, nak ke paras bahaya lah.
Hmm.
Tapi macam kat Pekan ada bantuan juga ke yang datang?
Ada juga.
Dengar. Tapi
Semua tu
berseluk jugalah Dia apa dia panggil lumpur tu, lumpur.
lumpur.
Oh, tapi macam ada orang yang datang tolong ke untuk bersihkan?
Hari tu kawan office saya je lah yang datang tolong.
Hmm. Mesti penat lah.
Betul benar saya.
Kotor lumpur tu bukan nak bersih biasa kan. Nak kena
Mm-mm.
kotor cat lah. Kita tengok dalam tu kan semua tengok sedihnya. Sekarang pun macam kat KL pun masih lagi dalam keadaan yang tak selamat kan. Dia punya air sungai tu. Lah rasa macam tertimpa-timpa je ujian dekat negara kita ni lah. Walaupun dekat Terengganu ni Alhamdulillah lah. Tak ada yang terjejas macam tu. Mungkin dulu pernah lah di Kemaman lah. Ada orang Kemaman tak dalam ni? Tak ada?
Saya doktor.
Oh Kemaman lah. Pernah kena lah sebelum ni banjir. Ke tak? Kemaman pun kawasan tertentu juga kan?
Kat kawasan saya tak kena bang.
Tapi rasa kalau yang lagi teruk yang berlaku sekarang lah kan. Macam dekat Kelantan dulu teruk juga tapi teruk lagi sebab dia macam tak sempat nak selamat lah. Kalau kat Kelantan lah itu yang 2014 lah. 2014 rasanya yang banjir besar tu dia macam dia slowly jadi macam kereta apa semua tu boleh diselamatkan lagi. Ni macam kereta pun macam lost gitu je tak sekelip mata je. Dan ni kadang tu kita tak tahu ini sama ada ujian atau bala tak. Nak kata ujian ke bala? Kalau saya ada dengar sebelum kita masuk kita punya audit ni macam ada saya dengar kalau bala dia macam ni bila berlaku sesuatu lah disaster macam yang berlaku sekarang lah dia akan jadi bala bila benda yang berlaku tu membuatkan kita jauh daripada pencipta kita. Kita macam nak marah pada pencipta. Semua ni kita Allah yang jadikan kan. Tapi bila berlaku perkara macam ni, sesuatu ujian, sesuatu perkara lah menimpa kita ataupun musibah, kita jadi nak marah pada Allah. Kita nak marah, kenapa Allah buat macam ni? Kenapa? Bukan kita nak dekatkan balik kepada Allah nak dekatkan diri. Nak tengok balik flashback apa yang kita buat sebelum ni. Nak flashback balik solat kita. Nak flashback balik pada kita. Tapi kita marah pada Allah. Macam kenapa Allah buat macam ni? Tak kesian kat dia ke? Itu dia akan jadi bala sebab bukan nak mendekatkan diri kita pada pencipta kita. Tak apa ke saya cakap macam ni? Apa ke? Tak boleh
Tak apa je doktor.
Sebab macam drastically kan benda ni semua berlaku. Jadi nak terima itu adalah satu ujian atau bala, tengok macam mana penerimaan kita pada apa yang berlaku. Jadi bila kita ingat balik, kita muhasabah balik diri kita, itu adalah ujian daripada Allah. Jangan kita memberontak balik, maksudnya kita against apa yang berlaku tu, itu adalah balik lah. Okay. Jadi kita ni dah lama cuti tak? Lama cuti, seronok tak cuti lama yang tak terlibat dengan banjir tu pun macam mana? Ikut apa? Bukan meratapi lah. Sedih kan dengan apa yang berlaku. Macam ada juga yang still lagi macam tak terkesan dengan apa yang berlaku. Duduk update dekat social media. Makan dekat makan tu, makan ni, berjalan sana, berjalan sini. Nak macam tak rasa hiba dekat hati dia tengok apa nasib yang menimpa pada rakyat Malaysia di tempat lain kan. Jadi ada macam setengah sekarang ni kita nampak banyak NGO yang bagi bantuan kan. I don't want to say anything to our government. I don't want to say anything. Tapi kita sendiri boleh fikir kenapa macam kerajaan kita lambat bertindak apa semua yang banyak bagi hantar bantuan sekarang adalah NGO lah. NGO macam entrepreneur kan, entrepreneur tu pun banyak yang salurkan bantuan. Tapi ada juga entrepreneur yang macam kalau you yang follow social media kan, ada yang macam there's nothing happen, macam tak ada apa yang berlaku, sibuk duk promote kat barang bisnes dia, macam nothing lah kan. So kalau yang apa ni, entrepreneur yang macam tu, yang jual produk-produk tertentu tapi dengan keadaan yang berlaku sekarang ni, mungkin you boleh dislike lah dia punya produk tu kan, boycott lah, tak payahlah tolong macam tu. Tapi mungkin juga ada sudut kita boleh kata dia bantu tapi dia tak tunjuk kan. Dia tak tunjuk pun dia jadi juga kan. Jadi tak boleh nak 100% just lah. Tapi at least kurangkanlah kan. Kurangkanlah nak tunjuk-tunjuk benda-benda mewah macam tu. Okay, baik. Kita continue with our topic on audit. Okay. So how's your assignment? It's still continually lah, you continue buat kan. Dia tak I don't think that I want to forward the due date. Okay, you just follow the deadline yang kita dah provide hari tu lah. I rasa tak ada masalah kot, insyaAllah. So tapi jap, sekarang ni kita sekarang ni akan jadi week but actually sekarang ni kita berada di week it's supposed to be week 10 kan? Sebab kita forward. Am I right? Class?
Yes, Doctor.
So kita suppose that last week tu dah week 10 tapi kita bawa ke minggu ni week 10 kan? Jadi kalau kita ikut pada submission, you punya submission tu. So part A will need to be submitted end of week 11. Okay, do you have any problem to submit during week 11? If let's say that this week is already week 11, you need to submit. Boleh? Boleh ke part A tu? Hello? Next week. Kalau ikut dalam ni this week lah kan. Kalau ikut yang asal sekarang ni week 11, betul tak? Kalau ikut, tapi tak apalah since kita dah ada jadual baru. Kan, jadi tak fair pula kalau saya tak forward. Tapi kalau you boleh follow pun tak ada masalah. Macam ni, I give you part A, part B tu you hantar sekaligus pada submission part B dan part C. Tapi kita ikut jadual asal. Macam mana? Sekejap saya buka kalender. Dalam tu saya dah letak jadual. Saya punya ni. Okay. So sekarang 28 hari bulan 12. Ya. 7. Saya lupa, kita pernah ada meeting tak selepas midterm break hari tu? Saya tak ingat. Kita pernah ada meeting tak? Selepas midterm break?
Kalau tak silap tak ada.
Tak ada, okay. So, 9. That's week, this is week 10. Ini sebab kita forward. So kelas, so, jadi minggu ni kita consider minggu 10 ke minggu 9?
Kalau ikut jadual baru tak silap minggu ni minggu 9.
Minggu 9 kan? Okay, so saya tanda sini 9, 10. Jadi minggu ke 9. Since this week is minggu ke 9, jadi kalau hantar minggu depan lah. Kita forwardkan. Kalau minggu ni minggu ke 9, so lambat lagi lah part A ni nak kena submit kan? Betul kelas? Betul tak? Tapi kalau kita minggu depan je lah boleh? Submit minggu depan boleh kelas? Minggu depan end of week 10 lah. Sebab yang dia buat dari macam terlalu lambat. So end of week 10. And then end of week, saya nak gajak sebab dia macam terlalu lambat. Part B and part C tu end of week 12 tu dah okay. Tapi yang all parts tu saya nak end of week 13. Boleh? All parts tu saya nak pada end of week 13 bukan 14. Okay. So yang tu part A next week, end of week 10. Part B and C tu remain lah. And all parts tu week end of week 13. Untuk setakat ni macam tu lah, okay? Kalau ada apa-apa perubahan, let's say, kita akan forward je lah. Okay, so sekarang kita nak tengok tajuk on the impact of information technology on the audit process. So actually this topic, it relate to the internal control of the companies lah. Maksudnya of the client, internal control of the client. So tajuk ni, yang berkait dengan tajuk ni, you sebenarnya dah cover, okay? You dah cover dalam audit 1 pun you dah pernah tengok on this topic. And also, waktu you belajar ICE, okay, Accounting Information System pun you dah pernah cover. So you ambil ICE semester berapa? Kelas? Semester bila ya? You ambil audit?
Semester ni.
Oh, ICE semester ni?
Ha.
That the advanced ICE kan?
Oh, ha.
ICE ada 2 paper, betul tak? Betul tak?
Ais yang first ke madam?
Ais yang first ambil semester berapa?
5 rasanya.
Semester 5. So sekarang you have another apa ni? Another paper on ice lah kan? Betul? So on that paper you what you cover on the current semester punya paper ice tu?
Maksud doktor?
Maksudnya you cover on topik apa? Maksud saya. Tak sure, takkanlah tak sure kot. Tajuk apa yang you belajar?
Waktu belajar ais ke waktu belajar sekarang advance?
Both lah yang you ingat-ingat yang sekarang. Yang sekarang aku tanya, yang dulu you tak ingat yang sekarang.
Kalau dulu UBS kot.
X,
UBS.
takkan UBS je.
Ada lagi.
Lagi kan. Ada satu part yang you kena masuk lab. Satu part tu you ada lecture, betul?
Betul.
Sekarang? Sekarang. What you cover? Tak tahu topik apa you belajar. Yang I tanya yang current semester.
SDLC. System Development Life Cycle.
Again?
System Development Life Cycle.
Development life cycle. Lagi?
Payback period.
Payback period. Payback period. Payback period tu macam mana?
Yang initial investment tambah dengan cash
Itu
flow.
dalam corporate finance kan? Dalam ICE pun ada?
Tajuk awal-awal.
Ada. Lagi daripada tu? So dia tak ada discuss pasal internal control lah? Tiada kan? Tak ada ke kelas?
Ada madam.
Ada kan?
Jadi tak silap entrance yang lagi detail waktu AS dulu.
ICE 1 kan? Alright. So on this chapter, we basically the topic yang tajuk untuk this topic pun dia punya tu adalah kita tengok pada impact, okay? The impact of information technology on the audit process. What will be the impact kepada audit when the company or the client use the information technology. Okay, so these are basically that we're going to cover, okay, or what is the objective of this topic. Okay, describe how IT improve internal control, and then we're going to look at the risk, okay, risk to accounting system of the specific accounting system specific to the IT that used, okay, explain how general control and application controls reduce IT risk. Okay, so you must know what are the difference between the general control and what is the application controls. And then describe how general control affect the auditor's testing of application controls. And then use test data, parallel simulation, and embedded audit model approach to the automated control. And then also identify issues for e-commerce system and other specialized IT systems. Okay, so first we look at how IT improves internal control. So the using of the information technology will enhance the internal control of the company in terms of the two parts. Okay, the first is replace. Okay, replace the manual. Replace the manual control that used by the company or the client. And then another one is it provide the higher quality information. Okay. So when the company or the client, okay, they use the IT, okay, or computer controls, okay, the benefits that will be provided from this is it's able to handle large amount of complex business transactions. Since kita computerized, so kita boleh control ataupun it's not control, we're able to handle, okay, handle large amounts of complex business transaction with effectively in terms of the cost. Okay, then because when we use the computer, okay, or the IT, um, it will process the information consistently. Okay, and this IT system can potentially reduce the misstatement by replacing manual procedure with automated controls that apply checks and balance of each of the transaction process. So when we use the IT, okay, the computer controls here, it will able to reduce human errors. Okay, human errors when we use the manual processing transactions, it could be the occurrence of the human error. But when we use the computer controls, and we're able to reduce the human error that often occur in manually processed transactions. And the other improve, okay, that we were getting from using the IT, it provide the higher quality information. Okay, the complex IT activities are usually administered effectively because the complexity require effective organization, procedures, and documentation. Okay, and this will resulting the quality information. Okay, it will be more faster than using the manual system. And because of it fast, then the information will be the quality lah. Quality which is kita bila kita maksudnya tak ada lag di situ. Okay, we're able to get the information on time with using the IT. So when we have that such information with the quality on time, okay, no lag in processing the information, so that the management able to use that information for better decision making. Okay, that's the main two things that we will be getting from using the IT towards the internal control of the companies. And then we look at what are the risks, okay? In terms of, in despite of the benefits that we will be getting from using the IT, okay, we also have, okay, the possibility risk that associated to the accounting system specific to the IT that we use. Okay, so these are the possible risks. Okay, risk to hardware and data, reduced audit trail, okay, and also need for IT experience and separation of IT duties. So even we use IT, okay, the information technology, it able to enhance the internal control. However, it also affect the company's overall control risk lah. Okay, which is in terms of these three things. Okay, risk to hardware and data, reduce audit trail, and need of the IT. Okay, even we use the IT, okay, information technology, at a certain time, okay, at a certain time, it possibly occur that the IT system fail. It's not working. Okay, so when this happen, okay, the company or the client could be paralyzed. Because the inability to retrieve the information because of the system down, okay, the IT system down, not working. So what happened to the company will be paralyzed because of the inability to retrieve the information. Okay, dah tak boleh nak retrieve data, all the necessary information. Or it could be, it's not system is sometimes it's not fully down, okay, bukanlah partly down, tapi dia akan berlaku, cakap masalah, a technical issue or technical matters related to the IT system yang kita gunakan. Probably the information yang produced tu is unreliable due to the error kan, due to the processing error. So this is the risk. Okay. So with this risk, what will be the mitigating ataupun betul lah, mitigating yang kita boleh use, okay, to handle balik all the risk that related to the information technology. So before we look further on the next part, okay, kita tengok risk lagi, okay. This in detail is a risk that related to the hardware and data. So there are few things here, okay, the risk that relate to the hardware and data. The first is reliance on hardware and software. Okay. So without the proper physical protection, okay, of the hardware, okay, or software, it will not be function or may function improperly. Okay, therefore it is important. Okay, it is important to protect the hardware. So you all tahu kan hardware tu apa kan? Hardware tu apa, software tu apa. Jadi what important, okay, with regards to the hardware tu, kita nak kena protect the hardware. Software pun nak kena protect juga, okay, protect the software and related data from the physical damage. Kalau hardware tu you kena jagalah supaya dia tak tercemar lah dengan apa-apa yang boleh menyebabkan effect pada software nanti kan. Okay. So you must avoid all the inappropriate use, okay, or even the sabotage, okay, sabotage toward the hardware yang kita guna tu kan. And then also environmental damage. So environmental damage ni yang currently berlaku lah kan, environmental damage such as fire, humidity or water. Water tu flood lah. Jadi macam sekarang ni kita masih belum betul-betul ada post effect of the flood tu kan. Sekarang ni macam bantuan-bantuan ini in term of organisation juga, tapi in term of individual lah kan. Individual yang sekarang ni bantuan yang disalurkan adalah more to in term of foods kan, macam bahan-bahan asas. Jadi benda-benda macam ni untuk macam office pun banyak yang terjejas kan, yang terjejas sebab banjir tu. So this all will be included lah kan. Okay. And then we look at another one is on the systematic versus random error. Okay, systematic versus random error. So when the organization, okay, or the company replace their manual procedure, okay, sebelum ni dia guna manual and now we're moving to the IT. So with the technology based procedure, the risk of random error from human. Sebelum ni manual melibatkan human. So the risk of random error from human involvement decrease. Okay, so decrease. But okay, the risk of systematic error increase because of once procedures are programmed into the computer software, the computer process information consistently for all transactions. So what adalah the error yang berlaku adalah random error yang berlaku di sini. Okay. Sorry, bukan random error. Systematic error. Okay, because of the information technology that we use through the procedure that or the program, the computer software. Next, we have unauthorized access. Unauthorized access. So, when we use the information system ataupun accounting system, okay, this allow online access. Okay, online access to the electronic data, master file, software, and also other records. We can trace it automatically. So, due to the online access, due to the online access, probably lah kalau yang melibatkan menggunakan one area network, the data, the information can be accessed by all parties kan. Macam contoh dah ada dia punya ID, you dah boleh trace the information. So it can be traced by external party at any location. Okay, bila dia menggunakan one area network, just ada internet and then boleh access. So this what will occur here adalah unauthorized access, or which is the illegitimate access. Di situ akan berlaku. So if the company, if the organization doesn't have the proper restriction, online restriction, such as the password and user IDs, and now we already have the password and user ID. Sometimes the personnel are sharing that password and ID to the other parties. Itu isu lain lah kan, tapi sebenarnya itulah yang berlaku. So this unauthorized activity may be initiated through the computer, resulting in improper changes in software program and master files. And could be ada berlaku perubahan kan di situ. So kita punya data atau information tu jadi tak reliable lah di sini. Okay, next, the other risk is on the loss of data. Okay, so all the when we use the IT system, the data are stored in centralized electronic parts. Okay, so there will be possibly increase the risk of loss or destruction of entire data parts. So maksudnya apabila sesuatu berlaku yang pada kita punya master files ke, so ada possibility sometimes the original data tu sendiri akan lost lah. Okay. But sometimes dalam sistem yang kita gunakan tu, yes, we can easily update them. Tapi bila once you update tu, tapi apa yang you update tu salah daripada yang original, so all your data is online, what will be the effect? So the entire of the data tu akan jadi, contoh-contoh yang melibatkan coding lah kan, bila data tu silap, dia banyak benda yang perlu kita ubah. Ataupun ada juga jenis software yang dia gunakan tu, once it's safe, dia dah tak boleh nak undo. Ada juga sistem, maksudnya dia akan ada stage dia lah. So itu macam risky jugalah. Let's say kalau kita dah tak ada simpan yang data yang betul-betul yang original kan. So itu dia punya loss of the original data, maybe kan boleh dia punya isu di situ. Okay. Okay, next. Reduce audit trail. So this is another risk that associated with the using the IT. Okay. Okay, bila kita menggunakan IT, okay, basically the misstatement tu kita tak boleh nak detect sebab kita menggunakan use of IT because of the loss of the visibility of audit trail. Okay. Of course lah kita reduce the human involvement di situ, and that's why the visibility of audit trail is reduced. Okay. So visibility of audit trail. So all the information can be entered directly into the computer. Can be entered directly into the computer. And with that, with the use of IT, it will eliminate, and sometimes reduce, sometimes it reduce the source document and records. Okay, so this document records are called the audit trail. So with IT, kita punya audit trail ni reduce lah, dah tak ada sebab semua kita dah directly we enter into the computer all the information. So because of the loss of the audit trail, other control must be put into place to replace the traditional ability to compare output information with hard copy data. Jadi kita kena ada other control is necessary here lah. Okay, sebab dia dah less documentation, nak detecting misstatement tu akan berkurang. So hence we need the other control here to replace the traditional ability to compare the output information with hard copy data. And that is reduce human involvement. Of course, okay, when we use the IT system, employees who deal with the initial processing of transactions couldn't see the final results. Okay. So therefore, they are less able to identify the processing misstatement. And even if they see the final output, it is often difficult to recognize the misstatement. Because dia macam dia tak ada working kan, dia tak ada working because the underlying calculation are not visible and the result often highly summarized. Sama juga macam you exam kan, contoh exam yang melibatkan calculation. You are required to show all the necessary workings in order for you to getting the mark kan. But you tak letak you punya workings. So macam mana kita nak bagi markah? And much more risky lah. Risky pada saya itu risky because during this online exam and so on. For me, untuk paper calculation yang I mengajar, for the students, if he or she doesn't show the working, I will not award the full marks to them. Because you can easily copy, you can WhatsApp your friends. You know that Allah is watching you kan, kita tahu, tapi sometimes people forget about it. Okay, terlupa. Jadi saya tak akan bagi full marks. Saya tak bagi full marks working. Sebab working tak ada, you just give me the final answer. No, I wouldn't give that. Memang tak bagi. Tetapi kalau waktu exam yang physical exam dalam hall, yang tu I akan bagilah kan. So you tak ada sources nak tiru kan. Sampai dah tak ada orang yang boleh tiru kan. Yang tu I akan bagi format. Mungkin you, I'm assuming that you show your calculation or you terkira dalam kertas soalan ke kan. Tu pun maka potong juga, tapi taklah serendah macam online exam. Kalau tak ada working, tak akan bagi full marks. Dan ada juga sometimes working kat atas tu ada, tapi working tu you are calculating another things and which is it is wrong and then the final answer is correct. Oh, I tak bagi juga markah. I bagi je lah setengah markah. Jadi kalau you all ada paper calculation lagi tak semester ni? Ada paper calculation tak? Kelas? Tak ada, tak ada normal lah. Jadi kalau I tak tahulah kalau lecture lain macam mana, but for me during this online session, online exam, so memang tak boleh bagi. So kita kat mana tadi? Reduce human involvement and then lack of traditional authorization. And with the advanced IT system, it offered initial transaction automatically, such as calculating interest on saving account and ordering inventory when pre-specified order levels are reached. So semua tu automatic, kan? Automatically system. Sometimes kita selalu cakap dengan people, can you do anything about these matters? No, I couldn't because of it is computerized. Semua sistem yang handle. So kita tak boleh nak adjust. So maksudnya macam ni lah. Okay. Alright, that is the reducing the audit trail. What would be the impact when it is reducing of the audit trail? And next, need for IT experience and separation of IT duty. So kalau you perlu kita discuss apa, kita masih lagi discuss on the risk. Okay, risk of IT. Okay, we need the IT experience and separation of IT duties. Okay, with the computers, too many duties that were traditionally segregated, such as authorization and record keeping. Sekarang ni, tak ada dah, sebab kita dah guna komputer. So, combining activities from different parts of the organization into one IT functions, centralized responsibilities that were traditionally divided. So, reduce separation of duties as well. It's actually the will be the impact in terms of the positive impact is we are reducing the employee lah juga kan bila kita menggunakan IT. And the need for IT experience. So when the company purchase simple off-the-shelf accounting software package, it is important to have personnel with knowledge, okay, and experience to install, maintain, and use the system. Even you have the software, you already purchase the software, but then you don't have the knowledge and experience staff to use, and it would not be functioning juga lah kan. So we need the IT experience there. As the use of IT system increase, the need for qualified IT specialists also increase. Okay. So it's not risk sangat sebenarnya, tapi dalam textbook you dia letak dalam parts of the risk. Tapi sebenarnya untuk IT experience tu, it is not the risk lah. Actually the impact lah kan, the impact of IT, they will be reducing the separation of duties, and the other impact is we need for IT experience. So actually, you all ada kan textbook ni? kelas. Yang sebab dalam buku yang kita guna Edison tu tak ada topik ni, tapi yang ni you boleh tengok dalam buku errands. Ada kan? I rasa kalau audit 1 ada juga yang guna buku errands ni. Ada tak kelas?
Ada yang dalam bentuk PDF je, madam.
Okay lah, then you can refer. So maksudnya I tak payahlah go detail sangat lah, then you can read lah maksudnya nanti. Okay, next. Explain how general controls and application controls reduce IT risk. So before that, what actually general controls and what is actually application controls? Okay. So general controls ni kita akan apply to all aspect of the IT function lah, semua dalam company tu, in an organization. Okay. Kalau you tengok dalam textbook tu dia list out everything kat situ, including the IT administration, separation of IT duties, system development, physical and online security over access to hardware, software, and related data, backup and contingency planning in the event of unexpected emergencies, and hardware controls. So because of the general control often apply on an entity basis, auditors evaluate general controls for the company as a whole. Okay, kalau you tengok, okay, this is in this diagram, it show to you relationship between general and application control. So this is the general control ni dia berada di luar. Okay, di luar on a widely basis, entity wide basis, itu adalah general control. Okay, so secara keseluruhan, okay, that's on the general control. And then what is application controls? So application controls apply to processing transactions, such as controls over the processing of sales or cash receipts. So it is more on all the transactions, okay, transactions cycle. If you still remember during your audit 1, kita ada belajar sales cycle, purchase cycle, chapters, creditor cycle, and then what has we have inventory cycle, ataupun inventory management, and then we have cash, bank, so all these and also the payroll kan, and all of these lah yang kita akan di bawah application control. Okay. So auditor must evaluate application control for every class of transaction or accounts in which the auditor plans to reduce access control risk, because IT control will be different across classes of transaction and accounts. So if you can see in this diagram, so this all the cycle yang kita ada kan, sales, cash, payroll, and here in this diagram it put for other than the sales, cash, payroll as the other cycle application control. So basically on the application control ni you dah you dah understood lah, sebab we all cover what to audit 1. But all the internal control with regards to all the cycle. So basically you have the knowledge about this lah. So bila kita cakap internal control on sales macam mana, internal control on cash macam mana, as well as on the internal control that relate to payroll of the company. Okay, so you must have the idea kan, bila soalan yang on IT tu basically dia akan ada kaitkan dengan benda-benda ni lah. Okay, the internal control ni. Okay, you all tak ada kelas kan pukul 10? Ada kelas tak? Tak ada. So, ni tak ada yang lain. Tadi. Tak ada buku. Ada kelas tak pukul 10? Tak ada. So, kita boleh continue lagi lah sikit Boleh?
Boleh, Doktor.
Sikit ke? Sebab you all pun dah pernah belajar tajuk ni kan? And plus we ada textbook sebab dia more to the theory je sebenarnya. Theory and application lah kan. Theory and application pada contoh kalau soalan yang melibatkan case kan you have to apply lah. Jadi macam audit ni dia memang macam tu. Dia actually theory paper lah. Tapi kalau macam tajuk yang sebelum ni apa yang last hari tu? Final kan, the final tajuk yang completing the audit, final the audit engagement tu dia ada technical. Okay, the technical thing that you mesti faham untuk you jawab chapters tu. Okay, sebelum I lupa, untuk you punya tutorial 4 and tutorial 5 last week tu I ada letak dia punya solution dekat Qubit, so you boleh study, tengok balik macam mana dia punya jawapan tu. Okay, so now in this table, table 12.1, okay, describe the 6 categories of the general controls. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 categories of general controls, and the entity-wide effect on all IT functions. Sila tengok. So 6 categories of general control and the 3 categories of application control with a specific example for each categories. So here we have for the general controls, administration of IT function. So the example of control here, CIO, okay, Chief Information Officer or IT manager reports to senior management and board. Separation of IT duties, responsibilities for programming, operations and data control are separated. System development, apa dia punya control over the system development. Teams of users, system analysts and programmers develop thoroughly test the software. Physicals and online security, access to hardware is, we need to restricted. Okay, password and user IDs limit access to software and data files. And encryption and firewall protect data and program from external parties. And then backup and contingency planning, written backup plans are prepared and tested regularly throughout the year. And then hardware controls, memory failure or hard drive failure causes error message on the monitor. Maksudnya itu control dia maksudnya dia nak kena ada notification lah. Okay, if something happen to the hardware. Okay, maksudnya dia tak ada notification apa-apa kan. So we don't know, so bila dia berlaku macam tu, then we able to, kita boleh control lah kan apa yang berlaku tu bila kita dah setting dia macam tu, notification on the failure. For the application controls, okay, for the input controls, pre-formatted screens from data input personnel for information to be entered. Processing control, reasonableness test, review, selling price, used to process a sale. And output control, the sales department does post-processing review of sales transaction. Okay. Administration of the IT function. Okay, so the boards and the senior management's attitude related to the IT will affect, okay, the perceived importance of IT within an organisation. Sebab sebab mereka ni adalah yang manage the company, okay, on all everything, the daily operation. So here it will be different lah kalau maksudnya the decision which is coming from the boards of director and senior management of the company. Okay, if it is from the uh, big organization atau big company, okay, so of course we have the complex environments, complex transactions, so the management would possibly um, establish, okay, or identify that it is important to have the IT steering committees to monitor the organization technology needs. But it depends lah, kalau untuk small company, maybe dia tak adalah perlu set up the IT steering committee. Mungkin dia cukup lah hanya ada seorang yang akan monitor lah. Contohnya di sini kita ada chief officer, chief information officer, seorang je. So semua dia akan monitor lah, tak perlu kita ada komiti on IT. Kalau company tu tak adalah it's a small company lah. Okay, that's about the administration on the IT function. So macam yang di sini lah, yang dia dah provide kat sini, CIO or IT manager report to senior management and board. So actually it provide the same things here. So delegation of duties daripada kat sini jugalah. Okay. So we have the proper segregation of duties. In the IT itself pun kita ada segregation of duties. Tapi kita boleh mengurangkan lagi segregation of duties. Maksudnya di sini dalam ada department lah. Dalam sales department kita boleh reduce segregation of duty kan. Tadi kita ada bincang. Tapi dalam IT department itself kita mesti ada proper segregation of the duty. So we have here the system development, operations, and also the data control. So the CIO, okay, we have the Chief Information Officer, CIO ataupun IT Manager would be responsible to oversight of the IT function untuk all the function, the system development, operation dan juga data control. So the system analyst, okay, system analyst ataupun di bawah system development lah, okay, is responsible for the overall design of each application system of the company. And then for the operation, okay, the computer operators are responsible for the day-to-day operations of the company, and they need to follow the schedule that established by the CIO. And then for the data control, okay, for the data control, we have another department here. There is segregation of duties of the data control. So the data input or output control personnel will be independently verify the quality of the input and the reasonableness of output. So for organizations that use database to store information shared by accounting and other function, database administrators are responsible for the operation and access security of shared database. Okay. And next. Okay. Under the system development, okay, under the system development, there are two test strategy that they will be conducted, or the two test approaches, okay, which are the pilot testing and the parallel testing. So what is the pilot testing? Pilot testing is a new system that is implemented, okay, in an organization, okay, ataupun in one part of the organization, while other locations continue to rely on the old system. And parallel testing is the old and new system operate simultaneously in all locations. That's the difference between the two testing approach that use by system development. Okay. Next is physical and online security. So the physical and online security, we have the physical control and online access control. So for the physical controls, okay, physical control, we provide the restriction access to the hardware, software, and backup data files on magnetic tapes or disks, hard drive, CDs, and external disks. That is a physical control that we can protect it, okay, over the online or over the IT, okay, that we use in the company. So the common examples to physically restrict unauthorized use include keypad entrance, badge entry systems, security cameras, and security personnel. So it also provides here, okay, the more sophisticated control only allow physical and online access after employee fingertips. That is the common lah yang kita biasa guna sekarang ni. Okay. Ataupun yang ini lagi critical lah, I think, sophisticated. Employee retinas are scanned and matched with an approved database. So ini macam security yang kita guna dengan phone kita lah kot. It is actually face recognition bagi ada yang guna iPhone kan. So face recognition, dia tak perlu, kalau dulu finger, sekarang dah tak perlu dah finger. Yang kita perlu adalah you punya face recognition je dah boleh. So itu dia punya canggih lah. Maksudnya itu pada phone kita kan, security yang kita gunakan. Tapi kalau untuk company, saya rasa kalau untuk retina, belum jumpa lagi lah retina. Mungkin belum pergi pada company ni lagi. Atau you pernah jumpa company yang you nak kena scan retina you untuk you masuk pada organisation tu, for example, ada? Your own experience? Tak ada kan? Ada tak kelas? Do you have? Are you with me? Tak ada. Tapi daripada tadi je asyik Waina je, Syahira. Yang lain ni gimana? Still in front of the laptop? Ataupun adalah Syamina tadi, Nisa, Intan, Nisa. Yang lain ni tak tahu. Tak wujud. Nama pula nama jawab. Ada je. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Okay. Salah tu retina ni pun saya tak pernah jumpa. Mungkin di US kot. Macam tu. Yang ada je ni apa? Yang ada je, ada depan itu lah. Bukan yang ada jumpa company yang menggunakan retina scan tu lah. Retina scan tu saya tak jumpa lagi. Tapi kalau menggunakan face tu, dekat airport pun ada kan. Kita guna face juga. Nak tally dengan kita punya pasport tu. Itu yang kalau kita guna AutoCAD lah. Other physical controls include monitoring of cooling and humidity to ensure that the equipment function properly and installing fire extinguishing equipment to reduce fire damage. And online access control. So online access control tu adalah kita guna ID control, password, and then reducing bila kita guna ID dan password tu unauthorized, tu tak boleh nak access lah kan. And then they also use the separate add-on security software package such as firewall and encryption programs can be installed to improve the system security. Alright. Backup and contingency planning. So the off-site storage of critical files is a key element to a backup and contingency plan. Okay. So one key to a backup and contingency plan is to make sure that all critical copies, okay, all the important documents, okay, ataupun software And data file are backup and are stored off the premises. Okay, so contoh another backup yang dia boleh apply or applied by the company, contohnya to prevent the data loss during power, maksudnya waktu kita punya tak ada elektrik kan, so bila waktu tak ada elektrik tu, and then kita, the company lah, okay, the company boleh backup dia ataupun contingency plan dia, dia menggunakan battery backups or on-site generator. But however, for the another contingency planning or backup, untuk yang macam disaster tu, it will be more proper lah, proper plans, proper backups, okay, such as off-site storage of critical software. So actually, bila berlaku something yang disaster ni, kita kadang tak sempat nak kita tak sempat nak melaksanakan planning kita. Contoh macam yang berlaku di Jepun, disaster yang berlaku 2 years ago di Jepun pun. And even if you know that with regards to the flood, okay, flood yang berlaku sekarang ni, actually kita ada banyak kajian yang ataupun preparedness toward the flood, itu semua kita ada lakukan, conducted kajian yang mana untuk preparedness lah, preparedness terhadap banjir ni. Dah berapa juta sebenarnya kerajaan membelanjakan geran tersebut, okay, untuk menjalankan kajian tu. And I'm wondering that when this happen, macam benda tu membazir je kajian tu. Banyak bilion sebenarnya, berjuta-juta bilion yang kerajaan spend untuk conduct research pada banjir yang berlaku. Ini more on Kelantan lah hari tu. In term of the local authority punya strategies bila berlaku macam ni, semua dah didocumented kan, okay, daripada kajian tu. Tapi bila berlaku yang terbaru ni, macam I rasa it's just a waste of money lah, waste of money daripada government. Bila berlaku kita tak boleh nak apply benda tu, itu sangat satu yang merugikan lah. Sebab geran tu yang kes hari tu hanya berfokus pada banjir besar yang berlaku di Kelantan kan. Sebab beberapa hari tak ada elektrik, sampai hospital Kuala Kerai banjir kan. Kuala Kerai kalau saya tak silap, dan sekarang ada hospital baru dah Kuala Kerai tu. Tapi bila berlaku di Kuala Lumpur, and even we know that Kuala Lumpur tu Kuala Lumpur lah kan, banyak yang kena tu, bukannya kawasan yang jauh daripada bantuan-bantuan, daripada preparedness semua tu, tapi still mungkinlah kita boleh kata di sini, bila Allah nak buat tu, Allah boleh buat apa je lah. Mungkin kita fikir benda ni tak berlaku macam tu. Tapi bila Allah kata boleh terjadi, berlaku lah. Okay, so where are we now? Backup and contingency plans. And then a hardware control. So for hardware control, this control are built into computer equipment by the manufacturer to detect and report equipment failure. Hari tak adalah, yang tadi tu dia notification dekat desktop tu kalau berlaku hardware failure. Itu maksudnya itu dah built in lah, okay, daripada manufacturer dah setting macam tu. Okay, application control. So yang ni you boleh tengok balik, okay, sebab this is more or less sama macam apa yang you dah tahu sebelum ni dalam cycle, okay, purchase cycle, sales cycle, okay, so you boleh tengok balik lah, dia ada input, output and processing control, okay, financial, hash data, record count, kan, in term of the reasonableness, the completeness, ni semua kita punya management accession kalau you masih ingat kita belajar lah audit 1 hari tu. Describe how general control affect the auditor's testing of application controls. So there are the few impacts, okay, of the IT on the audit process. Okay, so effect of general control on system-wide application. So the ineffective general controls, okay, would create the potential for material misstatement across all system application regardless of the quality of the application control. So that will be the impact lah. Okay, yang mana ineffective of the general controls tadi boleh menyebabkan material misstatement juga berlaku di situ. And then the second one is the effect of general controls on software changes. So when the client changes to application software, this will affect the auditor's reliance on automated controls. Okay, so when the client changes the software, the auditor must evaluate whether additional testing is needed. Okay, if general control are effective, the auditor can easily identify when software changes are made. Okay, but in companies, okay, where the general control are deficient, it may be difficult to identify software changes. So as a result, the auditor must consider, okay, doing tests of application controls that depend on the IT throughout the current year audit. Okay, so bila ada software changes, tu ada control yang perlu dilakukan oleh auditor. And the next is obtaining and understanding of client general controls. So auditors need to obtain information, okay, about the general and application control through interview, examination of system documentation, and also review of detailed questionnaire completed by IT staff. So kalau you masih ingat, in term of interview semua ni pun ada juga auditor conducted. Maksudnya bukan yang melibatkan IT pun, auditor ada conduct interview juga kan. So ada prepare checklist questionnaire yang perlu dijawab oleh ataupun by investigation by or observation by the auditor. Kalau you masih ingat lah, okay. Itu pun ada. Okay, sebab dia dia ada kaitan dengan internal control kan. Next is relating IT controls to transaction-related audit objectives. If general control are ineffective, the auditor's ability to rely on IT-related application control to reduce control risk in all cycle is reduced. So maksudnya yang pentingnya auditor nak kena evaluate dulu general application control tu macam mana. General control and application control tu macam mana. Kalau it is reliable, tak ada banyak isu, effective. So, dia membantu auditor lah, okay, untuk completekan dia punya engagement tu. Mudahkan auditor. And then, effect of IT control on substantive testing. After identifying the specific IT-based application control that can be used to reduce control risk, auditor can reduce substantive testing. Bila efektif lah, so dia boleh reducekan substantive testing later. So apa sekalipun dia akan relate balik pada internal control with regards to the IT dalam company, dalam client tu. And then auditing in IT environments with varied complexity. Okay, when the company is less complexity, okay, audit around the computer for the some smaller companies. So IT controls is less effective. And then with the more varied complexity, so yang ni dia menggunakan fully IT, audit through the computer, and there will be the parallel simulation, and also you need to test the data. This one, you boleh tengok. dalam textbook dalam ni detail Okay, if you look at the comparison between the auditing around the computer approach and auditing through the computer approach. Okay, for the first one, credit is approved for sales on accounts. So using the auditing around the computer approach, select a sample of sales transactions from the sales journal and obtain the related customer sales order to determine that the credit manager's initials are present, indicating approval of sales on account. And the auditing through the computer approach, obtain a copy of the client sales application programs. Itu beza dia kalau you tengok kat sini kan. Okay, dia tengok through the client sales application program and related credit limit master file and process a test data sample of sales transaction to determine whether the application software properly reject those test sales transaction that exceed the customer's credit limit amount and accept all other transactions. So itu yang menggunakan computer approach. Yang the first tu dia tidak menggunakan, not fully automated lah, right? Yang ni you boleh baca, okay? It's actually come from here lah, dalam table ni. And the last is on the issues for e-commerce system and other specialized IT system. So issues, kita ada network environment. So network environment ni kita local lah. Okay, dalam company dia ada guna local area networks and also wide area network. I rasa you all tahu kan. So kalau local area network ni dia boleh cover dalam building ataupun dalam company tu lah, dalam sebuah syarikat tu. So kalau wide area network ni dia lagi cover, okay, cover at other locations, okay. Dan ada juga dia boleh cover global operations. So ini daripada software yang digunakan tu, you ada password, you ada ID, you boleh retrieve all the data, all the information with the one, okay. So daripada sini lah bila contohnya kita ada one, okay, menggunakan wide area network. So macam tadi lah bila you will share your ID with other third parties. So this is simply orang boleh access data of the company tu. So itu adalah risky lah. Dan memang itu adalah isu yang berlaku. Okay. And then we have the database management system. Okay. So dia ada isu dalam tu ERP and I'm sure that you know what is ERP sebab dia ada cover dalam ICE kan. Okay. And we have another issue adalah outsource. Okay. Issue when client outsource the IT. Okay. So many of the clients outsource some ataupun all of their IT needs to an independent computer service center, including the application service provider ASPs, rather than maintain an internal IT center. Okay, so maksudnya dia outsource kepada pihak luar lah. Okay. So companies also outsource their e-commerce system to external website service provider. Ini banyak macam entrepreneur kan, biasanya entrepreneur pun ada, dia menggunakan outsource e-commerce system to external website service provider. So whether we want to outsource or having our own IT department tu, biasalah macam you belajar apa tadi yang you mention tadi? It's relate to corporate finance tadi. Cost benefit analysis pun sama ada nak buat sendiri ataupun nak outsource. And then e-commerce system. So e-commerce system ni widely used kan sekarang. So you pun lebih mudah untuk faham lah bila cakap e-commerce system ni. Kalau waktu saya belajar dulu, saya belajar benda yang belum wujud waktu tu. Maksudnya semua ni all the is already predicted akan berlaku. You boleh you duduk rumah je, nanti you boleh order makanan akan sampai kat rumah you. Waktu tu 10 years back lah, 10 years back benda ni belum ada. Okay, 10 years back. So kita at that time we think, oh we can, you just using the online and then you can order your food and you will receive the food. Or also you can order your groceries item and you boleh terima je kat rumah tu grocery tu. Maksudnya nanti benda-benda tu. But actually masa 10 years ago, di Malaysia belum berlaku, tapi macam tu di luar negara, di US lah. Di US dah ada macam tu, tapi baru sampai di Malaysia. Sama juga kalau 10 years ago di US, diorang penggunaan internet pun, yelah diorang is a developed country, kita developing. So that's why it's differ. Diorang dah penggunaan internet tu dah meluas macam apa yang berada di Malaysia sekarang lah. Tapi itu 10 years ago di US. Okay. Tapi macam talking about the e-commerce sekarang ni. So banyak apps e-commerce yang kita ada kan. Panda, apa lagi e-commerce? Shopee kan, e-commerce lah tu. Shopee, Lazada, apa lagi yang terbaru? Grab tu, tu tak nak cakap common sangat, tu tak common lah. Yang saya cakap in term of selling and buying, Halo, itu untuk delivery kan. So semua itu online melalui e-commerce system yang develop. Okay, yang kita develop. Yang paling macam, kalau dulu food tu tak ada lah kan, tapi sekarang ni menggunakan anda pun you nak makan pun sampai ke rumah you. Okay, so that's all untuk topik ni. Okay. Kalau delivery dia baru nak sampai di Terengganu kan, tapi dia lagi efisien kan. Siapa biasa guna Halo yang who mention Nisa, you di mana Nisa?
Saya guna masa duduk rumah sewa dekat Terengganu hari tu.
Masa tu dah ada di Terengganu?
Dekat area Gombadak.
Yang warna oranye kan?
Warna merah.
Merah. Sekejap, macam kat KL sekarang banyak yang warna oranye tu apa?
Tak sure lah doktor.
Siapa dari KL kat sini, Selangor? Apa nama dia? I lupa lah. Dia warna oranye tu.
Lalamove.
Lalamove. Lalamove. Okay, Lalamove. Sekarang sama lah macam delivery lain. Halo saya jarang nampak. Lalamove tu okay kan? Ke tak? Dia macam Grab juga kan, betul tak? Tapi dia, sebab saya nampak macam individual je yang dekat kereta dia letak lah. Dia macam Grab, macam, betul tak?
Dia sama je. Tapi saya tak pernah try lagi lah Lalamove.
Ya, dia sama macam tu. Dia bukan courier lah, dia bukan courier tapi dia dalam. Tapi dekat Terengganu baru nampak ada few cars lah yang provide this service. Okay, so untuk this afternoon tutorial, macam biasa saya dah letak soalan tu. For this time, sebab kita musim-musim banjir ni, saya bagi ginian sikit lah, tak perlu hantar. But, you must be, apa ni? Dia cakap, honest to yourself lah. You kena buat. Sebab, bila you buat tu baru you better understand. So, that's why I letak review question. So, review question tu pada yang dah ada buku tu boleh tengok je lah nanti. Sebab saya tak scan lah. Sebab kalau scan pun macam, tapi sebab saya snap guna PDF tu, you boleh baca kan. So ada satu review question, satu lagi soalan tentang apa tak lupa. Pasal e-commerce lah. Okay, e-commerce kalau saya tak silap yang saya letak dekat klik tu. So buat, no need to do the submission lah. Okay, okay tak? Tak payah hantar. Tak payah hantar bukan bermaksud you tak buat Tapi you kena buat. Because bila you buat tu you belajar. Okay kelas? Kena hantar juga ni. Oh, line putus. Class, can you hear me?
Boleh.
Sebab macam line ni tak nyala. Tadi boleh dengar. So saya bagi tahu tadi tak perlu hantar tapi you kena buat. Boleh macam tu?
Boleh,
Boleh.
doktor.
So ada 2 part lah. Satu review, satu lagi case lah. Okay. So kalau tak ada apa-apa. You all tanda attendance tak tadi? Saya tak ingat nak remind. Tanda attendance tak?
Dah.
Tanda sama lah, petang nanti pun tanda attendance. And kerja ni you buat lah. And then, saya lupa lagi. Saya tahu, kita belum buat midterm kan? Kita belum buat midterm, jadi nanti kita akan ada midterm. So midterm kita akan cover tajuk ethics, legal liability dan juga tajuk yang hari ini for our midterm. Jadi you tak boleh lambat-lambat sangat you punya tutorial soalan untuk tajuk ni sebab at least bila you buat tu you dah study kan untuk you punya. Jadi 3 topics and it will provide you 20% okay, for your midterm. Topik on ethics, legal liability dan juga impact of IT on audit process. So 20%. So kita akan buat dalam masa terdekat lah insyaAllah. That's why I tanya siapa yang ada terlibat dengan banjir lagi ke tak. Kelas boleh dengar tak ni? Kelas?
Boleh, doktor.
Boleh sebab dia tak hijau. Biasa dia hijau, dia macam kering kat situ. Okay, so kita akan buat masa terdekat. Saya tanya semua tak ada terlibat banjir. Okay. Jadi nanti I akan bagi tahu lah maybe end of this week ke. Macam tu lah kot. Maybe most probably. Alright. So that's all lah untuk hari ni. Jadi be prepared for your midterm. And I will see you again next week. Ada apa-apa boleh text sana. Okay. Okay. Ada lagi satu tentang macam saya lupa. Pasal you punya video hari tu kan. Sebab sometimes saya punya saya punya drive, Google Drive tu dia punya dokumen besar, kadang saya tak boleh nak buka. Saya punya Google Drive tu. Jadi, saya nak, boleh tak you all buat satu YouTube link. YouTube tu you buat unlisted. So that orang tak boleh cari. You buat unlisted. Satu, seorang yang buat. And then you masing-masing buat satu password tu share semualah dalam group. So that letak video tu dalam tu. Faham tak? You understand or not, class? Class?
Dengar, doktor.
Dengar So faham tak yang saya cakap ni? Untuk video yang legal liability hari tu, I nak you upload dalam YouTube. Dan YouTube tu saya nak you letak sekali. Jadi saya tak payah nak cari tempat lain. Maksudnya you akan create satu account, share lah password tu dengan kelas. So siapa-siapa je akan letak video dia. Kita ada berapa? 7 ke 8? So 8 video ada dalam tu. Dalam satu tempat. So you letaklah nama ni lah ACB 41503 ke ataupun legal case video ke. 5 apa ni? You 7, group 7 apa you ni? 7A ke B ke C? C kan?
C.
Faham tak? So nanti letak semua tu, bila dah siap nanti bagi link YouTube group tu kat saya. Faham kan macam mana nak buat? Saya tak tahu you all faham tak ni, I tanya.
Faham.
Faham Bukan buat satu-satu tau, buat satu tempat sekaligus letak kat situ. Okay, sebab saya punya Google Drive tu penuh, saya kadang tak boleh nak buka punya storage tu, so I nak you buat dalam satu tempat. Jangan YouTube tempat lain-lain, satu tempat tu. Macam soalannya macam channel lah. Okay? Okay, kelas? Kalau tak ada apa-apa, faham, jelas, so we end our class and I will see you again next week insyaAllah. So insyaAllah next week kita maybe dah tengok topik baru pun. Okay? So thank you all. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, doktor.
Sama.